Hello friends, I hope that you're having a fabulous day. Today it's been a really good day here. I'm in Northwest Georgia and crazy thing. Saturday was beautiful. Sunday day was actually really nice. Sunday night we had like this severe weather, like massive thunderstorms come through. There were tornado watches and warnings out. We didn't get any, luckily we didn't get anything that severe. But Monday night, we wound up in a freeze warning. And so it's been pretty cold for Monday, Tuesday. And today is really the first day it's been really nice and sunny. The sun was out yesterday, but it didn't get that warm. But today it finally got warmed back up, and so now but I mean, it's March, we're in the South. This is kind of how it goes every year. It's hot, it's cold, we have severe weather, we have snow showers. We always call it the bipolar weather of the South, and Georgia's definitely no exception. That is a good segue for the purpose of this video. So if you've been around a while, you may know that I suffer from seasonal affective disorder. And particularly, it's hit me a lot harder in these past few years since we moved down to Florida for a while and then moved back to Georgia. And yes, Georgia actually sees very little winter compared to, north of the United States. But Northwest Georgia compared to Southwest Florida, we definitely see more winter than they do down in Southwest Florida, or that we did, because, when I lived in Fort Myers, we were out in the swimming pool in January. I think the entire time I lived there was one day that the temperature actually got down to 60 degrees, and that was the lowest it ever got. And it only did that one day for the entire time I lived there. And, we can see single digits here in Georgia. So it's big. It's a big difference from the northern states, but a big difference from South Florida too. So, but anyway, also, if you've been around, in addition to the seasonal sadness, seasonal blues that I experience, then you may also know that back in December, I sustained a knee injury, a pretty substantial one. And during the course of the rehabilitation for that knee injury, it was discovered that I have severe osteoarthritis, which is now something new that I have to learn to live with, in addition to the prediabetes and the high blood pressure, although those two are still luckily reversible. The arthritis is not. So that is something that I have to adjust living the rest of my life with. And then that is also caused between just learning about having this diagnosis and researching how it's going to affect the rest of my life, and now knowing that I'm going to have some limitations. On top of that, along with the months of extremely limited mobility and the chronic pain from the knee injury, that added an additional kind of level of kind of the blues, sadness, a little depression on top of the normal seasonal affective disorders. So I am lucky that it's been about a month now that I've been kind of, getting more mobile. I've done my first Zumba class since December. I've been going to the park and walking, and but it was a long time before I could actually, put any weight on my leg. But I've been doing a lot of thinking and just a lot of processing all of this. And tomorrow, which is March the 20th, is the first official day of spring. And I thought, what a perfect time. The weather is finally better now this week. Days are getting longer. And spring, it's like a season of rebirth, a season of regrowth. color and life just seem to be coming back into the world. The trees are, putting out little buds and leaves, and there are quite a few here around that have bloomed. The red buds have bloomed, cherry trees have bloomed, grass is green. So I thought a perfect time during this season of renew, a season of regrowth, rebirth, to kind of start working on building my next phase, because I'm through with my physical therapy. All that's done now. And so now all I got to do is just do my own work to keep building strength. I got to still get weight off, and I still got to build strength in my, my muscles to support my knees, my joints. So I've been working on creating my own little plan, my own little program, if you will. And several years ago, probably around the time of like the COVID lockdowns, when I got my Zumba certification, just because we couldn't get out, gyms were closed, everything was closed. I was doing all this online training. I was getting some certifications from ISSA. And that's like the International Sports Science Academy, I think is what they're called. But anyway, one of the certifications I got was group fitness, because I got my Zumba, instructor license, and I thought, well, if I got the group, that'd be something that maybe in the future, down the line, I could, look into teaching my own Zumba classes. And part of that was I had to write my own program. That was my final exam, was I had to write my own fitness program. And I got a lot of positive feedback from my instructor. She was talking about how, well structured and how detailed my program was, and that she looked forward to seeing my program put into play somewhere down the line in the future. And I just kind of moved on from that. Life kind of, took hold. We recovered from the lockdowns. My grandson moved in with me. I was working multiple jobs just over the past few years. Just everything came about. And I was thinking about that. And so I dug out all my old notes, all my old textbooks, and designed my own little kind of a spring reset program. And so it's going to be 3 months, 12 weeks, which is perfect because it'll start here in March. It'll end in June, which is just in time for summer. And then I'm going to try to do some kind of little hot girl summer program, hot girl walk, something. I'm going to come up with something for the summer, but I'm going to start out with this program. So it's just going to be like a little 3-month program. I'm going to break it into 3 different phases. And the goals of this program, I've got it written down here in my little notebook, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm kind of referring to my notes. And so the goals of this program are to improve my strength, obviously, support my heart health, maintain mobility, of course, those joints, and, building strong muscles to support those joints, mobility, reduce stress and mental health. Of course, that's always a good component to add, but I thought that would be good to implement that coming out of this whole season of sadness. And then to create daily routines for long-term wellness. I liked that. So that's kind of the goals of the program. I'm going to have strength training 3 days a week, cardio 2 to 3 days a week. Those days can overlap. 2 days a week, I'm going to have a mobility kind of day, kind of work on similar to what I was doing with my physical therapy, like yoga stretches and like mobility exercises. One day is going to be like an active rest recovery day. And then I'm going to have little mental health practices that I do every day, like little habits. So the first phase is going to be like building my foundation, just kind of laying the groundwork. The focus is going to be, increasing my mobility, having better posture, increasing my confidence, and start those habits, like start building good habits. The goals are going to be to reduce a lot of stiffness in my joints, be consistent with my routines, start some strength training, and improve my stress awareness and my sleep. And that's my goals for this first phase. The second phase is going to be building strength and energy. So the focus for phase 2, which will be the second month, the second 4 weeks, will be muscle strength, endurance, and increasing my metabolism. So the goals for that phase are going to be to add my strength training, add weights, progressive overload, progressive strength training, building and increasing my cardio fitness endurance, and increasing my balance and my stability, because there are some times that my knees still feel like they're gonna like snap out from under me. They feel like a little twig that's about to pop. And so I need to keep working on that stability and that balance. The final phase, the final 4 weeks, is going to be my vitality and longevity phase. And the focus of that phase is going to be functional strength, building confidence, and implementing those long-term habits. The goals of that phase are going to be to build lean muscle, get ripped, improve balance and stability. That's always going to be such a goal, is in working on balance and stability with these knees, and establish sustainable routines that I can continue with forever. So I have broke down a weekly training schedule. Monday will be lower body strength training. Wednesdays, upper body strength training. Friday is going to be a full body strength training. Tuesday is going to be cardio and mobility day. Thursday is yoga, mobility, and a mental wellness activity. And then Saturday is going to be some kind of cardio, fun movement. It could be a Zumba class. It could be going for a hike. Just something where I'm out enjoying some cardio. And then Sunday, an active rest day. That'll just kind of be like a little walk at the park. I'm going to have a little morning routine where I'm drinking water, hydrating, doing some morning mobility, like neck rolls, shoulder rolls, those kind of things. Little morning breathing, deep breath work exercises, and little journaling, little gratitude journaling. That's kind of the mental health component of this. And then just a little light movement in the morning, a little short walk, or some kind of like a little stretching, or some kind of little, maybe a 10-minute workout, just something to get a little light movement in. And then every evening, I'm going to have a little evening routine that focuses on recovery and stress reduction. And that's going to be some stretching at night before bed, a little journaling before bed, a little digital detox, which is something I could definitely benefit from, and just some little relaxation, whether it's, drinking a hot tea at night, taking a hot bath at night, just doing a little reading, just something to kind of wind down and, just kind of reset my mind to relax and get ready for bed. The mental health component, the weekly practices. So 1 day a week, I need to do something for like a little mental health self-care exercise. And that's going to be like a little nature walk, whether it's a hike or just a walk around the lake, at one of the parks, a wooded park. One social activity a week, whether that's going out with a friend, taking a group class, like a Zumba class, group class, or just doing some other kind of class, whether it's like a pottery class or an art class. And then one self-care activity, which could be getting a massage, which is perfect for that, because getting massages can be kind of expensive, and I would love to go get a nice hour-long deep muscle massage, but those can get costly, and I'm not in a space right now financially where I can go and do that, which is okay. I'll get there one day, but right now I'm not. But my gym membership is at Planet Fitness, and I do have the Black Card membership, which means I have access to the red light therapy, machine. I have the tanning machines, which are, I know, there's a lot of, debate back and forth whether or not tanning beds are, recommended. But I'll be honest with you, I can sit outside in the backyard for 10 minutes and get deep little tan lines. I don't burn easy, so I'm not really a high risk for the skin cancer. That's not saying that it couldn't happen. I'm just saying I'm not a high risk. But I can sit outside and get tan lines. I can go lay in that tanning bed at the gym and 3 days in a week before I ever even see anything. I don't think the bulbs are that strong. But anyway, it's just a kind of a nice little get out of the house, just kind of a little something for me, only for me, because I'm the only one that can get in that bed. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little self-care act. So I have access to that, the hydro massage beds, the red light therapy, I said that, and then the little massage chairs. So that can be my self-care activity, is when I go to the gym, I can get me a little massage, get me a little time in the tanning bed. A creative hobby, which I'm a planner girl, hence the bullet journal, So that's definitely something creative that I do, is work on my planners. I love scrapbooking, so I can do that. Or a bath ritual, a nice everything bath with the candles and the bath salts and the bath oils. Just something one day, something each week to do for a self-care act. So I like that. So each week I have to do some of those things, and that's good because that's going to keep the body good. It's going to keep the mind good. And then each month I'm going to do a little monthly check-in, like the first month I'm going to measure my energy, track my energy levels, how consistent have I been working out. Then I'm going to track the next month any improvement in my strength. How's my sleep quality after 2 months of consistently working out and taking care of my body? The third month, I'll assess my mood and my stress levels and evaluate my progress, tracking like my stats. What does my weight look like? What do my measurements look like? How well am I performing the weightlifting, the strength movements? And then for this program, as far as nutrition goes, I am going to kind of create my own little nutrition plan, but I'm going to focus on bone health and muscle preservation, of course. So protein at each meal, calcium foods, like foods that are high in calcium, lots of vitamin D, which, spoiler alert, we will be getting some of that in the sun too, the natural vitamin D. But also from my milk and other foods. Fiber, because that gut health is important and we need to remember that. And then obviously the most important of all, hydration. We got to be drinking that water. And then I just need to keep in mind, because of my age, my current weight, and the condition that I'm dealing with my knees, I have to properly warm my body up. I got to do warm-ups. I got to remember to always think about doing joint-friendly exercises. That's like when I did a Zumba class yesterday, there was a part of it that was jumping. I skipped the jumping. I just kind of had my feet flat and just kind of raised my heels up like I was jumping, but my toes never came off the floor. And, I may just have to improvise right now. And that's fine, because that's about, that's where my body's at right now. And gradually increasing weight. Like if I start out with 2-pound dumbbells, maybe move up to 5-pound dumbbells, and then eventually maybe 8 or 10-pound dumbbells, And then at the gym, obviously, the weighted assisted machines, I can definitely go higher on those. And then the big thing is remember to keep practicing the balance training, just to prevent those falls. And so the phase 1 again is about the foundation and mobility, just kind of laying the groundwork, getting these joints used to moving. Second phase is strength and endurance, like getting stronger, lasting longer. And then phase 3, strength, balance, and setting myself up for continuing the next 10 years, moving forward. So anyway, that is my little program, my little 12-week program that I've come up with. And I'm excited. I'm excited to start this. And the timing is also perfect, aside from the fact that tomorrow is spring and it's a new season. And it's a great time to start a new program. This weekend is actually my weekend rotation. So I work tomorrow. And I do work Saturday and Sunday, but I'm off. I took PTO week the whole week next week. So I think I'm going to actually start Monday. I'm going to get everything ready, kind of get everything wrote down, put everything in my planner, just kind of like plan out my week as far as like what days I'm going to the gym, what workouts I'm doing, when am I going to work out at home, what kind of cardio am I going to do. Probably, spoiler alert, it's going to be some Zumba and then walks at the park, obviously. But I'm going to get all that planned up this week around my work schedule. And then, so I'll have the entire week off next week so that I can get started and just kind of like get into it. And then when I go back to work the week after next, obviously, I just need to remember, be mindful of what hour do I start work, what hour I get off work. I don't really work overtime anymore, and I only currently have the one job. So I pretty much know what time I have available before and what time I have available after to plan out these things, these workouts and everything, meal planning, meal prepping, anything I've got to do. So I'm excited to get started, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you. And if you'd like to follow along, we can do this. And if you've made it to the end of this video, as always, thank you so much. It truly means the world to me when you take time out of your day to watch them. And I hope that you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye.